best circle he's traveled, half circle right there. I'm going to block him, get his hip, block him, get his hip. That half circle is probably the best one yet. I hope I've been somewhat studious about staying in frame. Another reason I thought today, it doesn't do me any good as far as viewership, which I don't really worry too much about, but doesn't do me any good as far as viewership on YouTube to have these hour-long videos and maybe sometimes longer. But I think, and there's guys out there that these aren't instructional videos. I'm just walking you through what I'm doing. It's not a training video. See, he blundered. He got that log over there, scared him. So I'm just walking you through what I'm seeing. I'm walking you through what I'm seeing, telling you what I'm thinking as I'm doing it. That's why I'm kind of all over the place. And I think it's more important to me to get the point across that this stuff you don't just come out and work with you should work with them a little at a time, but you don't just come out and work with your horse 15 minutes and expect it to be, if they don't know it and you kind of don't know what you're doing, you're not going to get it done in 15 minutes. You got to spend more time with them. And with a youngster like this, there are ways, yes, that I could already be on him, but I'm not a bronc rider, and I have the time to do it. And I feel like, personally, when they are given little bites to the sandwich, they do better, and they have a better demeanor when they do their job. So the things I'm going for are correct, but also relaxed, and not only relaxed, but a desire to be where I put them, because they think that if I can teach them to think that where the human puts me, I'm going to be the safest and use the least amount of calories, they want to be there. And then when all hell breaks loose, maybe for a split second they'll look to you for guidance, and you won't have a very large wreck. I'm going to turn him so if you see him relax, you won't have a very large wreck, run off or buck off, or I say a lot of times that, and I'll probably say it time and time again, but I say a lot of times, see how he's leaning forward slowly? I don't want you to lean forward. Doesn't mean leave. I say a lot of times that I would like my horses, and my everyday saddle horses this way, but I would like my horses to be able to do a real job, meaning someone can go do something that might be high stress or high danger, potential for high danger, or when they need them very accurate. And then I could turn right around and ride outside of the pen at a near-death experience and throw a little kid that's never ridden on my horse, and they can trot around in the feed lot or the little water lot, no problems at all. And or you could throw your grandma on them and they're not going to get hurt either. So that's probably 20-30 minutes of him working with little breaks in between, probably not long enough that I should have given him. So I'm going to let him come down a little more. I don't really want him bleeding forward like that, but it's an opportunity for me to teach him that he can back up and that he can be fine back here and I can love him back here. And the mosquitoes, man, they are I don't know how they're out right now because we haven't had any rain in about 6 months, but they are swarming him. See, and I'm also going to let him be a horse. His feet haven't moved, but he's heard that dog barking over there. And it's dark over there. Now, I look this way, but he's looking past me. So let's see if we say, oh yeah, remember I'm in the picture, bud. Remember me? Remember me? I don't want him to move his feet. So I'm going to wait till he stops his feet. He thinks it means move his feet. There, he thought about kind of turning in. I'm going to block him a little. I'm going to do it all for him. Eventually, I don't want to do it all for you. He's pushing into that flag there. That would not be a very pretty ride because I'd be using all of my aids just to get him to stop. And sees the sheep over there walking on the other side of the fence. All right. See, he's preparing to leave. He's all but left right there. So I have a feeling when I tack him up, it's going to be something. There's a little grab. You know, so I took a hold of that rope before and tried to get his body a little rounded out before I got after him both times. And that little thing is saying, hey dude, I need you to get round around me, but not from me pulling on you. That's much better. Don't blunder into that. That was much better. Can you back up for me? I will say I need to take away the pressure of this flag a little bit, but I don't care if you do this with your lead rope or this or however you get them to back, but it needs to come from the pressure. The volume turns up and back. Can you come forward? Sticky. Can you back up? Back up. Can you come forward? Sticky. See the dwell there? There's a sticky spot. Here. Lead out this way. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Don't let that run into you. Don't let that run into you. There's one spot there. There's one spot that the door's open. See, and he gets, now it's better. Right there is better. We got all offended when I told him to leave out through there. I'll just let him kind of trot here for a little bit. His mind, I'm actually going to do this. His mind is over here on this pole on the ground. He says, what the heck? I've never seen anybody do that random strange thing. Now I gotta go catch my horse. So we're going to give him, rather than this, there goes bat. rather than this flat ground that he doesn't have to think about his feet, we're going to give him something that he has to think about that's on the ground. Okay. I didn't ask for that. I'll allow it though, because he came back down and said, oh, you know what? Running doesn't sound too much like a genius idea. There he blows past. So I'll say, hey, why don't you keep going, bud? Why don't you keep going? There he came to it awkward. My angle was bad. And I say, why don't you keep going till you think about stopping? He's going to go blow past it on the other side. That's fine. And we could have already tacked him up tonight, I think, based on how he is. Now, what do you think right here? Well, how much does it take, boy? More than that, huh? Now here. Oop. See, I have I want a target over there about 10 feet. Between there and there, he needs to slow down. What's it gonna be? He doesn't have to run. I'm not making him run. Between that and about there, I want him thinking this way. See, and he doesn't. I had to make it happen. Good. Nice. It'll happen better this time. And I pulled a little. Come around this side. Nice transition. Oh, nice. So for me, I would like to work on my horses to have 3 speeds within each gait. Whatever your background is, that is different terms for it. But let's just say a slow walk, medium walk, fast walk. Same thing at the trot, same thing at the lope and canter, whatever you want to say that is. That was what I was going for. So if I can build this walk, he's going to need a big walk because he's going to have to take about 20,000 more steps for a big horse's 1 step. There. Without him trotting, that's going to be pretty ideal. And the cool thing that I just came across about 2-3 years ago, if you pay attention and you're kind of musically inclined, nice boy, and you're kind of musically inclined, every one of these gaits has a RPM to it, a min and a maximum RPM, and where they start overlapping is where you can do some pretty cool things with them, and or make your transitions really seamless. So I don't want the RPM to really go up. I want just the effort to increase, the reach to increase, like that. And if you notice, if you get to watching horses long enough, and I'll say it wrong so I won't say it too, this isn't very good here. I won't say it too specifically till I have time to go back and look, but the head and neck counterbalances from your girth, heart girth back, so it counterbalances the hind feet. When the hind feet are swinging more in an extended frame, not a collected frame, the head and neck are going to swing more. That also, nice boy, that also comes to play into, is the hind feet pushing? Meaning, is the hind feet, if you get to watching them, I probably won't do it with this flag so I don't get kicked, but if you get to watching him, now he's like, what are you doing? If you get to watching and you drop the plumb line down his hip, and I'm not sure if that's lined up, looks like about his hog, but if there's a line, wherever that line is, a vertical line, in front of that line, coming backwards, he's pulling with his front feet. Behind that line, he's pushing. He's pushing with his hind feet. So if you ever watch a horse that's in true collection, their hind feet are coming up here, and they're not really going out past that vertical back there, if that tells you anything. But you kind of have to slow-mo some videos down to be kind of aware of that. So I'm gonna tie this sucker over here. I'm gonna untack my other horse. You'll get a chance to see how this thing behaves when he's tied, if this is in the frame. And then which that can always get better. I think a lot of horses need probably a lot of standing tied. I like to, since I'm out here doing it, especially when the weather's halfway decent, and if I had a little better setup when it's 115 degrees, I'd probably do this more, but I like to start out in the morning by just leaving them tied, first thing after they eat, or if you can do it while they're eating. I like to start out with them, catch them, tie them, and then after you do that, let them eat their hay or whatever it is you're feeding them. And I'll kind of bring some other points up about that. But, for me, most of my clients don't ride outside. Most of my clients have other professions that bring in their income. And so most of their time is spent in an arena with an occasional time going outside. So what I kind of like to do is have everyone tied all day long. That doesn't mean I don't stop and give them water, but depending on how hot it is and if they're in the shade and things like that. But I think that is a very, very, very easy training tool. If you're too lazy to go tie your horse, you probably don't need horses. You can leave them tied in a safe, especially if you have a safe place. They need to be able to stand there all day long. And, if you think that if everything they got, food, water, a break from standing tied, was because of you, you might have a fairly well-behaved horse or appreciative horse that every time you come around you think something's good is about to happen. And that kind of goes for, I like to think of, so if your horse is not the best at getting in the trailer. See, he's not too happy about being over there by himself. If your horse is not the best about getting in the trailer or anything, you name it, what it's not good at, and you don't have your horse, like you feed your horse out of a square bell every day, well, might be worth the time. Let's use the trailer for an example. It might be worth the time to either load them in the trailer and feed them in there, or load them in the trailer and take them over and unload them and go feed them and then leave them alone. That might take 5 more minutes out of your day, and it might make your horses good for 5 more extra minutes. It doesn't matter what it is, but if they're bad about being haltered, why would you just run by and throw them their food? And use things that where they want to be to your advantage, or not. And that's on. And then don't wonder why you have to pay a bunch of money to have your horse fixed. So we're just going to proceed. I've kind of ran long on this already, so I'm just going to proceed like he's been here and done that. So there's a little bit of a reaction. I want to do something over here to get his mind back. But it's not too terrible bad. It definitely needs work every day. Now, bring your mind back over here. It definitely needs to get better every day. I'm not gonna, before I walk out here, I'm gonna bring his mind back. It definitely needs to get better, and it will. But you might, finding a place that you need to